You know, every year I make a concerted effort to get out of the shop and meet up with experts and collectors that inspire me.
Haven't you spoiled yourself?
Yeah, a little bit.
So this is noisy.
This is actually very quiet.
You know, whether from Pebble Beach to Petawawa or Angoulême to Atlanta.
So adorable.
Use it in the living room as an end table.
Good trip.
If it's got an engine, I'll go to see it.
What a car.
Look at this. Today, I'm visiting Hassan Moghadam. I met Hassan at DriveFest. At DriveFest, he has some amazing cars.
I'm driving it. Wow. If it starts. You know Ferraris don't always start.
But I've heard he has even more. And, well, I'm gonna go and see what he's got. You know, Hassan's collection is not huge, but my God, it's quality. When I first saw Hassan, I saw him running around his cars and organizing things, and it was just this passion. A lot of people say they're passionate about cars, but Hassan, you know he has a passion for cars as soon as you meet him.
It's a sickness. It's an addiction that we have. Car people know. It's finding that hidden gem that no one else knows about, and then you're on to the next one.
So a couple of these I've seen before. I've seen the F40, which is just a dramatic car. This is unsullied. He managed to get himself an F40 that had virtually not been used.
My wife says it's a ball of testosterone. It's a very manly car.
Yeah.
And if you look at the proportions, it's so wide, and then it cuts in. Well, it gives you that feeling that it's coming from a race pedigree, that it's meant for the track.
You know, the Ferrari F40 was a landmark car. Important because it was the last design that Enzo Ferrari worked on before he passed away.
It was the 40th anniversary of Ferrari, and he basically wanted to create something completely different. He gave them, I think, 9 months, and it was his vision to create the fastest car in the world. The first car to hit 200 miles an hour was the F40. If you look at this car, function was what it was made for, and then beauty came after.
It harbors a brand new way of designing these cars where they were be designed not as much for the artistic appeal of them and the curves and everything, but for the sort of rugged track type use.
I was so intimidated. When the car got delivered, I'm like, how the hell am I gonna drive this car? It's so scary, right? I get in, it's so smooth.
That's a hallmark of Ferrari. Ferrari has always made cars that are docile and usable. And then you put the foot down further and they become what they are.
The turbo that spools in this car, it's like an F1 fighter. So the engine's right behind your head and it just hits you. And it goes, whoosh, and then that sound is so unbelievable when it comes out and hits you in the ear, and it's addictive, because then I keep trying to find that turbo boost, and it hit, and I was driving it, and then 2 lights went on, blink, blink, blink. It actually says, slow down, in the car. The car is telling me to slow down. I've never seen that. The carbon fiber hood. Let's see, you want to hear that sound? Let's get in there. Here we go.
I've always appreciated the sound of Ferraris. They do have a special sort of sound that no other car really captures. This one has that in spades.
Then it's gonna calm down.
This is just a magnificent car. One of my, well, I guess now one of my favorite Ferraris.
So we got a new customer, Anthony, bringing in his International Scout.
My grandfather had a couple of them. My dad had a couple of them back in the day, so I thought I'd like to have one.
It's in good shape. It's had some restoration work done on it.
It was originally a frame-off restoration. He said there's no body filler or anything in it.
No, and these are your first hint, because these, it's
you can
all
tell
steel.
by-
Oh, yeah. It is a California vehicle.
Sunny California, so unlike winters in Canada, no salt on the roads.
These vehicles were fairly thinly stamped in steel, so the salt and the snow and everything really wreak havoc on them. That's why these southern vehicles, you know, when they're brought up here, we're excited about them. You picked a good one, that's for sure.
Right now, it's in great shape. It's drivable. I drove it here.
I mean, basically the power issue is the big thing. Power, stopping, and the gearing in it.
Yep. It's extremely low geared. It's only 83 horsepower. They are like driving a tractor with a body on it.
Is it ever cute, though?
Don't say cute.
We got motor options. You can say a nice short V6 in there.
I'd love to have a 4.3 in it if
Yeah.
we could. I'm sure there's a lot of international enthusiasts that would like to keep it all original, but I want it to be a daily driver.
Oh, yeah. I mean, as far as the enthusiasts go, drive it for a while and then think to yourself, wow, this is something that really needs that extra power. It really needs that extra gearing. But we can set it up so that it's a joy to go out.
And the top,
You want that to match,
if you can,
no problem. Paint it up so it matches everything down below.
I like the color. It's different. The whole vehicle itself is different. You don't see a lot of them, especially in Canada.
I'm excited. It's a great project.
Great. Can't wait to see what it looks like.
So Joe and Bonnie brought their 55 Crown Vic in. They've owned it for a long time. They had it when the kids were really young. They stored it away. Now the kids are grown and out, and it's time for them to redo the Crown Vic. It needs some love for sure, but body-wise, it's in really great shape. Paint and interior, we're going back to factory colors. It's going to look like it just rolled out of the factory, and that's what they want. They want everything on the exterior to be 1955, and everything under the hood is going to be much, much newer. So this is the little V8, little 292 with a single barrel carburetor, and they worked fairly well for being just over 100 and change horsepower, really. We're gonna put a small block Ford back in it, but it's going to be a 302 or a 351. We're gonna give them somewhere around that 300 horsepower range and give them a power brake with discs on the front so that they can get in with the traffic. I mean, when this came out, those brakes were sufficient. The motor was sufficient. The traffic was nowhere near what it is now. This is why the Resto-Mod is getting so popular. When you drive a 50, 60, 7-year-old car, it feels like that. So we're trying to give them that upgrade feel so that they can enjoy driving it, not make it a chore.
Let's take you over to this.
Hassan is a collector of some pretty incredible cars, but you know, this one's sort of my favorite in the whole bunch. That's saying something. One of the most iconic European cars of the 1950s was undoubtedly the Mercedes Gullwing.
So it's a 1956 Mercedes 300 SL Coupe called the Gullwing because of the doors.
And it's an absolutely original Gullwing. You drove this, what, 200 miles back from Drive Fest?
I drove it in the middle of the night in the rain, and the thing didn't miss a beat.
Uh-huh. The Mercedes Gullwing really didn't start life as a road-going car. It started life as a race car.
It's the first fuel-injected car in the world, which means it won all the races.
The look of the car and the freshness of that design, people started to clamor for one of their own. Mercedes accommodated them.
When I bought this car, it was sitting 56 years untouched in a barn. And it took 2 years to bring it back to life, and I said, I want everything fixed, put back. I don't want anything replaced.
Yep.
And even the radio works, the bulb and tube radio. I love that. You turn it on, and it heats up, right? And then you start
We fix these radios for people, and then they get their car back and they phone and say, my radio's not working. I paid you guys to fix the radio. No, turn it on and leave it for a couple of minutes.
Right.
People are used to, no, well, it doesn't work. And,
Yeah.
and then start
the
yelling.
personality of the car, that
Yeah.
everything has to warm up and come
That's
up
it.
to temperature.
Yeah, I mean, you got a couple of dents.
Oh, yeah, look at
Stuff
these
in it.
beautiful cracks around
You
there.
said that with great pride.
Yeah, and I love it. It's almost like it gets more beautiful the more aged it gets.
Well, I mean, that's part of the appeal of a car like this. This is a beautiful original car that you can enjoy. Unlike the F40, where you're always going to be stressed to hell driving it, this one you can just drive and have fun with.
I'd never want to sell this car. It's who I am.
Recreating something that is unobtainable. I know what that's like, because I've done that quite a few times. Wow.
Wow, something's jammed up pretty good here. While we're working on this 55 Ford Fairlane, hauling the engine and transmission out of it, we got to get it into the body shop and start the body work on it. And this engine's not going back in, we're putting a more modern engine in the car. Just like a 302 Ford engine, the car's going to be much more drivable and highway driving, that's for sure. This side's not coming up. Won't budge. So I don't have a lot of clearance with this engine, and the exhaust manifold dumps way down below the steering box, so it's catching the steering box right here. You see how far it goes down. Oh, I'm gonna have to pull this manifold off. That's all there is to it here. I always run into something. Well, luckily this car comes apart pretty good. Look at that, the bolts come right out. See how far down that traveled? You can see the manifold went right down, was hitting on the steering box right here. I got a clear path now. She should come right out. So let's see what happens now. Wow. Wow. That was jammed up pretty good here. Well, I'm gonna get somebody to help me, see if we can pull it. Maybe two of us giving it a yank, we can pull it out a little bit. There's a bolt missing. There's something hiding there I can't see.
This looks like it'd come off not bad.
You know what? Two, take the whole front off. Here, see if you can hit that with this. Hang on.
Got your glove in there.
Touch it.
Got it.
We should be able to get somewhere now.
There you go. Feels a little loose.
Ready? Is that thing gonna fit through here?
Nope.
We gotta steer it, maybe. Come around this way. Oh, come on.
Ooh, that's a long transmission.
Yeah, I know, it's huge.
You don't leave you any room there.
Holy lordy.
Nice work.
Thank you.
That was easy.
Oh, geez, wasn't that fun?
Yep.
Today, I'm visiting Hassan Moghadam's garage. He's got a really superb collection of cars, and, well, I'm here to check them out. And then I noticed this. It's got a little 550 Spyder replica. I'm not a big Porsche guy,
You're not a big Porsche guy.
but I think that this is one of the highlights of the company, one of the most beautiful cars they ever made. The thing about these little Porsche Spyders is they became really famous because James Dean drove an original Spyder just like this one.
This particular car is a replica, but it's a handmade, exact duplicate of a real 550. The guy always wanted a 550, and there was a 550 in Montreal. And when that car was being restored, he said, I want an exact duplicate of that car. So they scanned the car and the chassis, and they replicated the exact car, and it took about 4 years.
Recreating something that is unobtainable. I know what that's like because I've done that quite a few times.
So, it's a 356 engine. It is not an easy car to start.
All
It's
right.
got its own little personality, as they all do.
There you go.
So the original car is about 5.6 million. This car is maybe $75,000 all in.
People are quite often down on replicas, but you know, when you've got something like this little Porsche replica, you get to use it, you get to play with it. If you bang this one up, it doesn't matter. You bang up a real one that's worth millions of dollars, well, people get a little upset.
It's light, it's nimble, it's low to the ground, and the engine's in the back. It's perfect.
This is a really, really nice car. Honestly, well, I'd like to drive the F40, but the little Porsche replica, that might be an awful lot of fun.
Okay, so we got the 67 Scout. We're gonna be doing the motor upgrade in it. We'll take a look underneath, see what we need. Wow, this thing is in fantastic shape. Everything is so clean. Whoever did the restoration did a really nice job. We'll get the guys on it and start pull apart. I wanna work on it. Other than changing the motor, we're gonna paint the top on it. He wants it to color match the outside of it, so Barry's gonna take care of that.
The International Scout, the owner wants the top changed from white to the color of the vehicle. To do that, I put a sealer primer on it. Once the primer is on, I use my scanner to scan the color of the vehicle. That gives you a color that's really close. There's no paint codes for that color. It's a little tricky to match, kind of do a little bit of tweaking by eye, because it's got a really weird tinge to it, like it's brownish, and there's pearl in it, so you gotta kind of screw around with it to get it right. I finally got it. The owner wanted the white gone off of there because he didn't like the contrast between the white and the dark. I think it looks better with the dark roof anyhow, so it turned out really good. I like it.
In 55, if you had bought this car, you're not gonna get this motor. When you step on it, it's gonna haul ass.
I will admit, like, I've done a couple of these, and I like the slanted nose.
The true Porsche people don't like
Don't
this
like
car.
this, I know.
Because in their mind, it's not a real Porsche.
The 55 Crown Vic, we did the metal work, the body work, the paint, and now we're upgrading the motor.
I got the motor all in, and I'm making some mounts. Today I get to do some welding, which is my favorite. Hey, pal. How's it going, Greg?
Oh, not bad. Looks like you're making some headway with the mounts.
Motor mounts are done. Just moving towards the transmission mount.
Talon's got to make up all the mounts for it. We have a lot of dimension differences and how things are going to sit.
Cross member, stock location, so we're not drilling any holes in the car.
That's great. If we want to take it out and he wants to go back completely stock, boom, undo them and away we go. Custom fabrication of the mounts is normal here. It's a lot of thinking. You make your templates, you make the pieces, get them welded in. Talon does a fantastic job of it.
A little adjustment there. Now I just unbolt that and weld her up. Bolt it back in. Well, we'll paint it and all the fun stuff.
I'll give you a little sneak preview of the small block Ford we threw in there today.
It's a 302 and a C6 automatic. In 55, if you had bought this car, you're not gonna get this motor. I mean, the older motors, maybe 175, 180 horse. This way, we put a nice automatic transmission in it, and the car is gonna have 360, 370 horse under the hood. It's gonna be a bit of a sleeper because nothing was gonna jump out and say, wow, that thing's been Resto-Mod. But when you step on it, it's gonna haul ass. Until you open the hood, you're not gonna know. We're gonna go back together soon and head down the road.
So I'll come over to the next car.
That looks like a Porsche.
That is a Porsche. So I've been chasing this Porsche for 15 years. And I buy cars that are race inspired. 935 was one of the first cars to be turbocharged, won Le Mans. So they took the race car and converted it into a street car, and they created the slant nose Porsche 930. It's a wedge shape, very wide, and it has a massive tail. And that's where they got the name Whale Tail. Roughly 900 were ever made. Small engine, turbo, so smooth, eh?
Yeah. The thing about these Porsches is it's got lots of embellishments, but those are all for keeping that car fast and controllable on the tracks, where they do reign supreme.
You know, they're the car manufacturer that's won the most races in the world.
I will admit, I've done a couple of these, and I like the front end look.
It's funny you say that, because the true Porsche people don't like this car.
This, I know.
Because in their mind, it's not a real Porsche. And guys that like Ferraris, you know, they're wedge-shaped. We're
Like
the
this.
wedge-shaped generation.
That's right, yeah.
They like the slanted nose. I don't think I'll ever convert David. He's not a Porsche guy.
But I'm not stupid either. And when I see special Porsches, I still can appreciate them. These cars are pretty special.
This is the horn. That's for the passenger.
That's brilliant. I've never been in a car where you get your own horn.
So I think it's pretty well ready to go. Once Barry finishes painting the windshield frame here, put the hood back on it.
Ronnie's got the Scout pretty much buttoned up. We jerked the original motor out and we put a Chevy V6 in and an overdrive transmission. Looks awesome, Ronnie. Nice and tidy. That's how it should have came from the factory.
The engine we took out was like a heavy-duty four-cylinder. Probably made a lot of torque, but not a lot of power on top.
I mean, with the 420 gears in it, you know, you could go off-roading and have the torque there for it, but when you get out on the highway and try to get home, I mean, you're just flogging it, trying to get up to speed, and now we've almost tripled the horsepower. So you ready to fire up?
Oh, yeah.
Whoa, didn't even turn over once. Wow, that's smooth. Ron's got it purring like a kitten.
Yeah, a little bit of fine-tuning, I think.
So International Harvester, the company, started out in tractors. You know, we see the International, it's the 13-letter spreader. But International Harvester got into a lot of different things with the vehicles, even with snowmobiles and the Scouts.
So the thing's built like a tractor, but I'm sure it's tough as hell.
Great job, guys. I love this.
A few touch-ups and it's ready to go.
Awesome.
So Thanks for coming to my collection.
Oh, that's it? You're kicking me out?
No, you have to choose which car.
Well, your choice as far as that's concerned.
Well, let's do the Gullwing. Let's give it a shot. The Gullwing is just an unbelievable design. It's got rivets on the door, and when you seal it, you're like in a submarine. It's awesome, hey?
Yeah, I could be talked into one of these. You know, sometimes when you get into an original car that hasn't been restored, it can be a little bit rough. It's nice and smooth,
It's
isn't
smooth.
it?
It's so smooth.
But this Gullwing is just wonderful. I mean, it runs like a top.
She picks up,
56, man.
yeah, she picks
wait.
up her skirts in
Wait,
fourth.
it's a 3-liter inline 6, about 295 or so horsepower. Think about it, 1956. There was nothing like that.
Drives more like a modern car. It's smooth, it's easy to steer. There's 3 knobs here I'd love to play with.
This is the horn.
That's good in an emergency.
I got a horn here.
Oh, so the passenger. That's brilliant. I've never been in a car where you get your own horn.
When something is truly beautiful, it's timeless.
It is. You know, designed like this, I mean, all of these lumps and bumps and curves and everything had a function, and it was just fortuitous that it ended up being a dramatically beautiful car. Had a great visit today with Hassan. When he's in and around these cars, and especially when he's firing them up and bringing them to life, he gets this sublime smile that shows that he is still enjoying this at the very roots of his soul. Not a lot of people get that kind of pure joy in even a hobby.